Vincent Gisset, David Wary, Aleksandra, enfin Ola. So Julian won't be there for the roundtable, and Paul. So you can all turn on your camera, and we will go through 4 main questions to drive the table, and don't hesitate to bounce from each other answers and from the question that will be asked by the public in the chat.
Sure.
Up. Sorry for that. So the first question is, what are your experiences of a successful SWAC installation, and what difficulties have you faced in the field? So maybe we can start with you, Paul, and then we will go back to David and Vincent that has already answered the question earlier this day.
Sure. I mean, as far as SWAC installations are concerned, like I said, I mostly work in the engineering part of the beforehand and actually setting up the pipes. So
yeah,
I've worked on many landfall projects, but I haven't really worked on any SWAC installations so far. But I'm hoping that maybe on the next meeting, I'll be able to say I have worked on many SWAC projects.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, sorry, I forgot.
No, it's fine.
No, yeah, so we can move directly to Vincent, I think.
So Vincent Gisset, I'm an engineer at DV Offshore, and for the last let's say 15 years I've been working on pipeline, any type of pipeline, and I worked for the 2 projects in Polynesia for the SWAC of Tetiaora and for the SWAC of the Papeete hospital, which I was in charge of the engineering and calculation engineering and installation calculation for a company which is GeoCean, that has performed all the installation of the SWACs, and more recently for the company named Trazomar, a SWAC-like. It was a water intake for cooling in Monaco. And as I said this morning, I was on the engineering side, on the contractor side. So project-wise, you have problem always, anytime, for all the aspect of managing a project, and also because the SWACs, and especially in Polynesia, it's quite a challenging environment. You have coral, you have hurricane, you have water depths that are pretty impressive very quickly. So you have, I mean, all the problems you can have in terms of marine engineering are gathered at that area, and you have to solve that with the tools you have in hand. So your computer, as far as I know, and all the tricks for engineering and project management. So and of course there is a logistic problem when you are isolated in an island like that. So lots of problem, and I think it had been solved at least 2 times for the SWAC. So that was a great achievement for me.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe we have a little inconvenient, as David Wary was supposed to be there, and it seems that he forgot to mention that he will not be there this afternoon. So we will do this roundtable, just the 4 of us. Sorry for that. Okay, so the next question is, do you have any SWAC projects that have not been able to be implemented, and what are the reasons for this? So again, I believe this question is more oriented for Vincent.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they are not implement. I mean, it's not failed project. It's project that are taking a long time to be realized, and I especially think of the project in La Réunion, where it's on the table for the next. I don't know. It seems to me that it has always been there, at least 10 years, maybe more. So it's you have projects like that take forever for a lot of reasons. Sometimes because of finance and budget problems, sometimes because of technical issues. And I think the one in La Réunion, for example, is the one with all the problem at once. So that's why it takes so much time. And you have also projects that are not well thought. And I think what Paul says, that they are not studied sufficiently in advance, and you find the finance, you find the budget for it, and then you start opening the packet and you see that, well, nothing is like it should be. So technically you have to revise everything, and at the end the project is a failure. So again, as I was working as a contractor, I'm at the very end of the chain, and I do not have all the insights of all the project that could have been done, and I've never seen the light. So and I believe it will change, because more and more the clients and the people taking the decision are informed that they need to look at all those parameters that Paul explained very well. I mean, it's marine project. It will cost a lot, and we need to figure out how it will cost the least at least, and that's I mean, that's the point. It may be worth investing a little bit of money at the beginning in doing some surveys, doing some calculation, doing a lot of things in order to be sure that at the end you will have a project that is reliable, and everybody's happy with that.
If I can add here something, so I know the very good example of the SWAC project, which was planned, and one of the partners actually of our project, EuroSwac, it was the large demonstration site within the channel area, and I think the timing is really, really important, because it was planned, it was really excited, and then we had the economical crisis, pandemic, Brexit, all of those things, and unfortunately this caused the project totally to be modified, and original demonstration site couldn't be proceeded.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you. Okay, so that drives us to the next question, which would be like, how did you remedy these problems, like methodically or technologically? And maybe we can start with Paul.
Well, I just want to go back to the project in La Réunion that you were talking about, which was kind of, perhaps failed is not the right word, but not complete yet. I think we talked about doing SWAC projects on islands before in the talks that my fellow speakers gave. It's actually quite hard to work in volcanic. Doing an HDD in volcanic soil is actually extremely complex, and it requires even more studies, because we talked about studies in France and studies on the channel, but like doing any form of trenchless technologies in volcanic soil is even harder and requires even more studies. An understanding of how the lava layers are deposited is extremely important. So I just wanted, this was not the planned answer that I talked before, but I also want to talk about direct pipes, which I talk about as an answer to one of the questions I was asked, which is one of the technologies that is, well, it has been developed a while back, but it's being used more and more for landfalls, and it could potentially, we're kind of waiting to see how the technique works for different kind of landfalls in different contexts. And hopefully this could be a good alternative for HDD or microtunnels, because while it has some problems that go along with it, it's also very practical and minimizes the time you have to spend at sea, because you can simply set up the pipe directly with just a machine boring at the head, and then as soon as the machine reaches the exit point, your pipe is already set up and you just disconnect the machine and let it float back up to the surface. Well, I wish it was that simple, but it's way simpler and minimizes the work at sea rather than an HDD. So hopefully that could be a good solution in the future.
Thank you.
Also, I am my background is volcanology and geology, and I work in a gas and oil exploration.
Okay, so yeah.
I was a basin modeler, and here I would like to add also that loads of studies. Well, when you think about the SWAC system and you're looking at the bathymetry and the close coastal area, there are lots of studies already done, and the basin modeling here is really, really important. So if we can extract, we can reduce costs, because technically, methodologically, it was already done somewhere in many areas.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. Thank you. Vincent, do you want to add
No,
something?
but yeah, well, there is also something to be done upstream, is in any case to prepare the client and everything to understand that marine environment is not something easy to work with. So it will cost some money, and if we can avoid that with, for example, direct drilling, or because for me, laying a pipeline between 0 meter and 10 meter is just a nightmare. So if we can go below the ground, it's perfect. I mean, I love that. I mean, it's less work for me, and I like that. So it's yeah, trying to avoid all the issues we know for thousands of years. I mean, the waves have always been there. So we know it's challenging, and if we can circumvent all those issues by good studies, good method of installation, good product, I mean, good pipes and so and things like that, it's always something to look at, and all the good ideas are still welcome. I mentioned this morning oil and gas. They have been leading the research and development for pipeline for the last, let's say, 60 years or 80 years. Maybe there is something to reinvent, because it's not the same pipeline, it's not the same fluid, and we need to find ways to convince people that, yeah, it may cost money, but at the end you have something that is durable and that save lots of energy and so money at the end. So there is the economic side always to be looked at.
Exactly, and like on this point, I invite people to check on the replays of this morning session that we will put in the few days on our media, because this morning we had a presentation on two innovations to reduce both the installation and the materials cost of SWAC. Okay, so the next question that I will ask to Ola would be, what would you say are the ways to improve the development of SWAC worldwide? If you like, yeah, really globally.
Yeah, firstly, I think it's really, really important to spread awareness of the SWAC technology, because having been working in the renewable energy for the last 5 years and been participating in many conferences, I notice it's all about the tidal and wind. I haven't heard many presentations about the SWAC, so I think the SWAC awareness it's just SWAC technology is not so known, and I think to develop it further, first of all, the end users need to know that this technology exists. So I think it would be very, very important to analyze the market and actually target the potential end users. But also to do so, we need to have all of the optimization models model. And like we saw already, the optimization process, it's just the steps to follow. So when we are having the end user, potential end user, we can just show step by step how to optimize it, how it can be cost effective. Then on the top of it is also the genetic optimization algorithm. And this is something I am going to do, because I'm going to see how to do the optimization to reduce the environmental impact, but also cut the cost. So there will be the multi-solution, and at some point the end user can come to the optimization model and just choose where they want to be in this optimization. Another aspect, I think it's really important for the development of the SWAC. At the moment, we are talking a lot about the circular economy, and it would be, well, our project is investigating it as well. We don't have complete results yet, but we are looking how to implement the circular economy in the SWAC technology, because this, I think, can be very catchy for the potential end users, and analysis of the life cycle of each component and the SWAC system at all in whole.
Okay, thank you. Paul and Vincent, do you want to bounce on this or no?
I'd be glad to participate in changing the mindset of both the clients and maybe spreading awareness. Yeah, that would be probably great. But I mean, I agree also with what Vincent said. Like there needs to be a swap in mindset before we can really popularize the technique. Since we need all the optimizations, we also need to have already investors and clients on our side, and we need them to understand that it's not about saving 1,000 euros on studies. To like, you can spend a bit more on studies and already have your project well set up, and then we can talk about who would be interested and go and see them. So I agree. I think it's important to spread awareness, but there needs to be a change in mindset in clients first. Sadly.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And
Thank you.
I will add exactly the same that we did this morning with David, and like Aleksandra said, SWAC technology is nothing new. I mean, nothing new. It's just a pipeline and some cooling. So I mean, the idea was there for I don't know, thousands of years. I mean, people have been doing things with water for a long time. It's the, let's say, the child of lots of different fields, where you have somewhere the oil and gas industry, somewhere all the outfall and intake for desalination project, and we are in interface with now thermission and people doing cooling, and it's a very difficult. I mean, it's lots of different topics. Now we have three, at least in France. In Polynesia, we have 3 SWACs in activities for the last 10-12 years. We have let's say, experience on that, and I think, yeah, spreading awareness of it exists, it works. Now we can quantify how much money, because I mean, what the investor want to know at the end, environment is a good thing, but at the end, will it cost more money? It's also something that need to be I mean, put on the table. And I know there is a question from Roy about some comparison of life cycle analysis. I don't know if it exists, and I would like to be sure that also it's environmentally positive. But in any case, if we want to develop that, we need to shoot out and to say loudly, it exists, it works in France, and it can be done almost anywhere. I mean, almost.
Thank you. Yes, indeed, for the question of Roy, but I believe, like Stuart answered him, as it might be one of the reports that the EuroSwac project will give at the end. We also have a question from Dan Idoley. So how easy is to engage the existing supplier of HVAC systems to adopt and promote SWAC to their customers? And would they be happy to try out a SWAC, or are they generally too invested in traditional HVAC technologies? I don't know for who would be the question.
Not for me.
I think this is the part of our research at the University of Exeter, and one of one of the field is the exploitation plan and the business plan, and this is our field and our research is to see how easy it is. I don't think it has been done before, but we in our exploitation plan we will be investigating how easy it is to connect to those suppliers and if they are interested in it as well, because they will be easy then, because they are the one who supply the heat pumps, chillers, heat exchangers, etc. So if they are asked for the technology and somebody can tell them about the SWAC, it's about the spreading awareness of the SWAC as well at the same time.
Okay. Thank you. So then we have a question from Martin Brown, which is with HDPE, cold water intake pipes, is there a fatigue life limits, particularly where the pipe emerges from a directional drill or micro-tunneled shore crossing?
Not that I'm aware of, but that, I don't know, perhaps. I've never seen that happen for a landfall, but again, most of the landfalls that are successful, there's already been a study on the bathymetry, the current, and the behavior of the soil with the current and the waves. So not that I'm aware of, but
yeah,
perhaps.
the trick is to avoid any movement any constraint and any movement at that particular point, because it would be a hard point, and of course you may have a fatigue issue, but HDP is something very strong. In term of design life. Something that can last almost forever. And you have to deal with all the dynamic of the project. For the one in Polynesia, for example, the aim was to let the pipeline move a little bit, not too much, so that you avoid fatigue concentration at a particular point. So it's always a tricky exercise where you can let the pipeline move, but not too much, depending on the bathymetry. The depths, the water depths at the location, and the current and the wave and all the external solicitation. So it's there should not be any fatigue life limit at the end of a drill hole, because we don't want that. It will be avoided at any cost.
Thank you. I believe that answers the question. Okay, so I had a question, which was, what is the real impact of SWAC on the environment? Maybe Ola, you might have some answers.
So I having presented on a few conferences, there is always one question which repeats itself, and it is people are concerned if we are releasing warmer water, if it's not going, we are going to save, reduce the energy costs, we are trying to reduce the carbon dioxide emission, and people are asking, well, okay, so you're reducing here, but then you're warming up the waters. And this is something I've done calculations on just for the channel, just taking the volume of the waters in the channel, and how much energy is being used, and how we can reduce the energy consumption. And based on this, I was able to calculate the difference in temperature, and I can now say that actually SWAC would warm up the waters by 0.008 degrees of Celsius. So if you think about it, if you think about all of the things which SWAC can improve, this is not a lot, the temperature difference. But also, yeah, I already showed in my presentation that it can save energy consumption massively, especially in England, where the gas heating is still one of the main ways of heating buildings, and it does reduce CO2 emission hugely.
Okay, thank you.
And construction-wise, you will always have impact on the environment. I mean, you're drilling oil, you're putting things in the water, so you're disturbing the environment. That's a fact. The thing is, it needs to be the minimum impact possible. So again, it will be some upfront studies to know where to pass, because you have, I don't know, special algae in that area, or I don't know, a population of seashell you don't want to disturb. So this need to be studied beforehand. For Tetiaora, for example, it was a big question, because it was right on a living atoll. I mean, with coral everywhere. So you don't want to destroy the coral just to chill some guy in a hotel. So that's something also that need to be taken into account and studied and evaluate. And that's why also we have regulation in France that might be, at least in France and in Europe, they are pretty stringent. We discussed that this morning. It's always a nightmare to have all the administrative validation and all the people and politics and everything, but that's a good thing also, that we don't put pipelines and SWAC anywhere, anyhow, and that we can make it safely for the environment. That's part of the deal.
I think this is coming back to the design as well. So we are, when we're doing the design for the SWAC system, we are actually looking at the parts only what is needed. And also many sites, like I checked, investigated within the channel area, they have already extracting systems installed there, which can be used then in SWAC. So they are already extracting water, and they are pumping it out. So all of the environmental regulation around it has been already done, and I'm pretty sure there are many other sites around the world similar. So it's just very good planning and the designing.
Thank you. Paul, you want to bounce, or it's okay? No.
I think Vincent said everything.
Okay,
I
perfect.
completely agree. Yeah. I mean, I would perhaps just add that any trenchless technology that we can use to set up the pipes, whether it's direct pipe, microtunnels, HDD, those tend to be quite environmentally friendly techniques. We don't really use any. I mean, of course, you're drilling, so you're going to disturb a lot, and of course, we're going to lose some bentonite. But this is essentially the only thing we use, which is bentonite. It's just clay that mixed in with water, so that we get some form of mud. And as it turns out, bentonite reacts with salty water, and it makes it kind of dissolve itself and float back up. So it's not the most environmentally destructive techniques ever. So there's already regulations for everything, but if we're careful enough, we tend not to have any issues.
Okay, thank you. Theo Jones from the National Lobster Hatchery, are you still there? We have a question for you.
Yes.
You're there. Fantastic. So there is a Dan Italy who asked, could staking in seawater for an aquaculture facility introduce pathogens or parasites harmful to aquaculture? And how would you mitigate it?
Sorry, can we get the camera now? Yes, it does have the possibility to, because you will be abstracting raw seawater. Within aquaculture systems, generally similar to kind of sewage treatment plants, before an outfall, you'll use UV sterilization, which will kill all of those pathogens and bacteria on the incoming water. So you could UV sterilize the incoming water and that's instantaneous pretty much, and works very well. We use it within our recirculating systems just to make sure that no pathogens are spreading within the system. But I would say, yeah, if you treated it with UV incoming or after the SWAC before it goes into your aquaculture systems, then yeah, no problem at all.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, so I believe we don't have any more questions. I don't have any more questions on my side. If you on your side you want to talk about a specific topic, like feel free. And else we can end this round table. There is a lot of other questions that has been asked during the first in the first session that will be available in replay, of course. So you will be able to check those with English subtitles. Okay, so we have one question from Martin.
Yeah, really just to make people who are not aware of it, because obviously energy thermique des mers or ocean thermal energy conversion, OTEC, is closely related to this topic, and just make people aware that there is an Ocean Thermal Energy Association, OTIA, and it would be good to have dialogue between the two branches.
Yeah, thank you. On the same communication aspect on the SWAC, as we said this morning, for the new people who weren't there, we are organizing with the EuroSwac a public event in Lille on the 10th of March to present all the studies that have been made by Ola, by Theo, and by other people of the project that has been presented this morning. So check, be aware. Like check our media on LinkedIn. We will post it when we will have the specific location, and we will send you the invites. Yeah. So I believe that's it.
I think Anne-Caroline.
Yes,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
someone who raised their hand.
Sorry.
Yes, hello everyone. Just to add to what Marin just said, we actually have another public meeting in the UK, which will take place on the Friday 10th of February in Brixham, to disseminate our project result as well, and to have a quick tour to see the Brixham SWAC. So yes, if it's more convenient for some of our UK
English
attendees, maybe.
People, yeah.
And yes, in France, in Lille, a month later. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Great.
Okay, so then I believe we are good. Thank you very much to all the speakers and for your presentations and informations.
Thank you for having me.
And yeah, I will like all the presentation PowerPoints will be shared, and the replays will be shared as well. Maybe more beginning of next year than before Christmas.
Sure.
Thank you very much to all of you, and have a nice day or
Thanks.
end of day.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.